Excellent, excellent. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on where you are in the world right now. My name is Dr. John Palabik, and I'm speaking to you from beautiful Massachusetts, where I'm a chair of Management and Business IT program. I'm also the founder and the coordinator of the Hospitality and Tourism Management program at Framingham State University. Before begin, I would like to extend a heartfelt of thanks to the people who and organizations that made this event possible. So I would like to give my housekeeping work first. I would like to thank the Institute of Tourism and especially its president, Reza Soltani. And thank you for your vision, Reza, and your collaboration. This panel wouldn't be without your leadership. Thank you very much. And I would like to say to my colleagues at Framingham State University, particularly in the College of Business, and thank you because they are always supporting the innovation and global engagement. That's a great opportunity for us. And I can't pass this without saying something to our students watching today. Their curiosity, their ambition, and questions are what inspired this panel. We are here to answer their questions. And they keep asking, what is hospitality and what is tourism? So that's why we are here. Of course, you are coming from the industry, and I'm sure there are many viewers tuning in from around the world, from Boston to Bangkok, from Cape Cod to Lisbon. We are thrilled to have you guys here. And to every single person in this industry, all of you guys, the speakers, panelists are here from the industry, and you always work with the people in the industry. And I just want to remind them, and I just would like to say a couple of things for them. And if you are watching this video, if you are checking someone in, if you are cleaning a room, preparing a meal, or guiding a tour, or planning someone's trip for today or in general, you are the soul of this industry, and this conversation is for you. Let me briefly introduce myself with a story, because this is all about the stories and redefining about the hospitality. I spent over 25 years in the industry, managing hotels, opening restaurants, launching travel agencies, when even I was like in almost like teenagers. And I helped open properties for the brands like Four Seasons, Marriott Hotels, Radisson Hotels, Wyndham Hotels, Kempinski, Omni, and Sonesta. Sounds like a lot of hotel brands. And I work with small independent hotels, and I had my own businesses in restaurants and the hotel industry. I specialize in opening hotels and creating teams, and building dreams, and then moving to the next one. It's ironically, I did the same thing in the academic world. When I started here in Framingham State University, all together with my colleagues, we launched our hospitality program here. And then we worked on an innovation center. And then we started our sports management program. We kept updating and improving in different programs and curriculums. And besides this, I'm still traveling constantly. And my friends knows here, I travel a lot. Matter of fact, I try to observe, try to learn and experience the travel from a guest's point of view. In fact, next week, I'll be traveling to India, and next month, I will spend my time in Thailand, Korea, and Japan. If you have any friends or travel tips, I am sure I have a lot of travel experts here. I would love to hear about it. So what is the story about this panel? What we decided about this panel? It comes years and years ago. When I was managing a large hotel in Maryland, I was running for 250 rooms, 6 food and beverage outlets, and over 40,000 square feet events areas. And as you can know, like today's industry, we struggled with the labor shortage, something that's only gotten worse in recent years. I'm sure you guys are feeling the same problem here today. At the same time, and years ago, I would say more than a decade ago, I was teaching over 100 students each semester, preparing them for the jobs and preparing them for the same industry. I saw both sides, working in the hotel industry and desperate for the good workers and the classroom full of graduates. So I was on both sides, and yet they were not connecting. And I was always asking why. why we always need employees and why the academic world is not responding to this. Because of that expectations, both sides were not aligning. The industry was asking one thing, the academic world was doing or preparing the students for something different. That realization pushed me full into the academic world. So I pursued my MBA, specializing in hospitality, and my PhD in Texas Tech University in tourism and hospitality. Then I took a mission. I was hoping to connect the dots between the industry and academic world. That was my lifelong mission. That's what I started more than 10 years ago, and I keep doing the same thing. Since entering the academic world, I've been asked a very, very simple but very powerful question. Over and over, people were asking the same thing. What is hospitality? What does tourism actually mean? This was coming from students, from the families. The people were coming and asking in different events the same question and over. And honestly, at first, I was shocked. I grew up in this world. It seemed obvious to me. How come they don't know about the hospitality and tourism? But then I realized it's not that easy to answer that question. Even we, the professionals, use the same term, hospitality and tourism, interchangeably, sometimes even incorrectly. Well, even preparing this panel, my panelists here will agree with me. I actually confused them with sending different emails. In one was saying hospitality, the other one saying tourism. And that was unintentional, but I was doing the same mistake too, because it's so interchangeable. So that wasn't really my intention, but maybe it brought a good discussion. Is it the same thing or two different things? So that's why today I will ask my panelists, I will ask them to tackle the question head on. And together we will define these terms, not from the textbooks though. I want their real stories. So what I will ask each panelist today, every single panelist will come and talk today. I will ask them three things. I will tell them first to give us their personal definition of either hospitality or tourism, one sentence, one word, something simple, sharp, and memorable. And the second thing is I will ask them to share a story that explains or comes together that definition, something real, something human and unforgettable. And the third thing is, if they have time, remember we have only 10 minutes, offer a recommendation. Students, maybe professors, maybe educators, or anybody curious about the subject and wants to join the industry, do you have a short, small recommendation for them? And remember, that's all in 3 parts in 10 minutes. I know it's difficult. It sounds like a TED talk. You have only 10 minutes and you have to run all these things to our audience. As the moderator, I will gently keep us on time. If I step in with a reminder, please know it's only for respect to flow of the panel and allow space for all voices. And I know everybody's time is important and we are all busy. We are not just talking about what we do, we are talking about why we do it. And we keep doing it. There must be a reason for that. We want to reclaim the meaning of our work before someone else defining for us. So we want to define it before someone else do it. So I want to keep my 10 minutes. So let's start this journey with our first guest. He's a dear friend and a trusted voice in the travel world. Please join me in welcoming Eric Ruband, CEO of the travel agency. Eric, the screen is yours and your 10 minutes is yours now.
Okay, I'm going to keep count here. Hey, everyone. My name is Eric Ruband. I'm the founder and owner of Sire Travel. We are a full service concierge style travel agency. We have clients all across the country and world. We're not a call center. We're not a web platform. We're not a discount agency. I have a small team of career professionals who specialize in white glove support for our clients. Our company is based in New York City, and I am sitting from my home office in Kennebunkport, Maine. So, and I actually got to chat with the students live in person before COVID and a couple of these virtual talks. So it's always my pleasure to talk about a little bit what I do, like the modern day luxury travel agency. And also the word luxury is thrown around a lot too. But John and I were talking yesterday, actually, and I kind of feel like hospitality. Even I kind of was like, "What's hospitality?" I had to think about it for a second, and we've all heard of the restaurant guy Danny Meyer, right? He created Shake Shack and so many other great New York restaurants, and he talks a lot about hospitality as well. And I think I kind of stole his answer because I think it's a good one, but there's service and then there's hospitality. So, I always say that I run a professional services company and, we provide service for travel. But service is just kind of fulfilling something, right? It's executing an order. I feel like hospitality is taking it one step further and creating a feeling, really creating something that is unique to the client or customer. And that's what I tell my staff too. And I feel like hospitality is something that you can teach service. I'm not sure if you can always teach hospitality. I really think you have to have that kind of passion to want to help people, to want to go the extra mile and really enjoy that. Like I always say, like we are yes people with some boundaries, but for our clients, it's really important for us to go above and beyond for them. We do travel for a lot of celebrities and notable figures. And you really have to listen as you talk to them and hear what they're saying. And when they come back from trips, really kind of, take notes about what they liked and what they didn't like. Like right now, I'm working on a tour for a very famous author and podcaster. And her executive assistant, is with this person 24/7. It really has to always be there. So, when I make a hotel reservation for this group, I need to make sure that, while the talent, so to speak, is, in one of the lovely suites, the executive assistant has to be right next door or right across, right? Can't be on a different floor. The same executive assistant, she hates when she gets to hotel rooms and the room service menus or the menus are only on the QR code. It drives her crazy. So I will literally go to my hotel partners ahead of time and let them know, hey, I have these notable clients coming. Can you also put some actual physical menus in their room, just so she doesn't have to worry about a QR code. If she gets to the room, she can look at the piece of paper, order food for her person and be done with it. So it's all of these little things really going above and beyond, making it easy. I feel like travel in this day and age is not easy and there's not a lot of hospitality. So being able to go above and beyond, even right now, I have a client with peanut allergies and she travels the world. So, she's going to Saudi Arabia coming up at the end of the year and she's connecting in Doha. So I even am just sort of like looking to see if any of the restaurants in the Doha airport have a peanut free menu or specialize in, peanut allergies. Just again, little things to kind of like, make her comfortable. I like to say that we help our clients, do their job and not have to worry about travel. So just going above and beyond to really making sure that everybody feels cared for and seen and heard is sort of why I'm so successful in the modern age. I always say like, Sire Travel is not about bots or algorithms. It's about professionals who have been doing this for years. And I would say sort of a recommendation again, I didn't get on my first plane until I was like 18 years old. And I never thought about working in travel. I kind of fell into it. But, I'm really good with people and I really love talking to people, working with people. Even though I would say I'm an introvert, from 9 to 5 at least, I'm an extrovert. I feel very comfortable in what I do. And I've been very successful. For someone who grew up in welfare and food stamps, I now own a company where I personally employ 12 people. And that's really good work. And, the work that we do for our clients to help them run their businesses, I also appreciate. So, travel and hospitality is a very big field and there's hotels and DMCs and travel agencies and airlines and ground transportation and rental cars and on and on and on. So as you're a student, everyone, talk to everybody, talk to everyone on this panel. I'm happy to always pick up the phone and do an informational interview, but there's so many ways to kind of get your foot in the door and really make an impact. So I think I'm under my 10 minutes.
Well, Eric, since you have time, since you have a few minutes, I would just want to remind you something you mentioned before in the past our conversations. You said something our students really loved it. and the question, and I kind of thought at first I heard I couldn't understand it. I will repeat it, and then maybe you want to say a couple sentences about it. In my class, you came in and you said, in this industry, there's no competition.
Yeah.
And I said, what does that mean? We don't have any competition. So can you just tell me a little more about it?
Yeah, you know what? In travel, one thinks that there's so many options, right? Options, options, options. And I kind of think that there's no competition. Like I have always thought, I know who my ideal client is. And I know what I offer, and I know what I don't offer, and that's kind of what I focus on. I know a lot of other small business owners like myself who are always afraid of the competition, and I refuse to live that way. Life's hard enough. I'm not going to spend any extra waking hours worrying about what the competition's doing. I stay in my lane. I know what I'm doing, and travel is a huge $1 trillion industry. There is something for everybody. So, find your lane. And the lane could be very broad. It's not necessarily we have to have a niche market, but know what you do, know what you want to do, know what you don't want to do. And start there. Don't worry about everyone else right off the bat.
Right. I can just support what you just said in the class too. And after I did the thinking and I was thinking, I said, well, Eric must be right because there might be many people in the travel industry, but I don't think anybody can do the Eric's way. You have a special way to do
Yeah.
it. So that's the way I think there's no other Eric. So it's the thing that we are focusing on for all our students and the people in the industry. Find your niche and do it the way that the others cannot even copy you. There's no competition because you are unique, right? Thank you very
Yeah.
much. Eric. It's a lot. Thanks a
My
lot.
pleasure, everyone.
So now we can move our next guest, Hunter Cheney. He's the director of marketing in American Heritage Museum. So I just want to give the screen and 10 minutes to him.
Great. And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me present today. So again, my name's Hunter Cheney. I'm Director of Marketing, Communications, and Education for the Collings Foundation and the American Heritage Museum. We're a educational nonprofit foundation that does a couple different things, mostly around the preservation and exhibition of rare military artifacts. And for years and years, the real kind of meat and potatoes of what we've been doing has been the operation of a national tour of World War II aircraft. And that quickly transitioned to, in 2019, we opened the new American Heritage Museum, which is based in Hudson, Massachusetts. And this is a 87,000 square foot building that basically highlights American and world history chronologically. So we start in the Revolutionary War, and as people go through the museum, you're following a timeline all the way through all the various conflicts, in American and world conflicts up to current time. The museum itself, we see approximately about 100,000 people annually, and it's been growing by about 7 to 10% annually since we first opened. When we talk about the visitor experience, this is really important, and so but specifically regarding hospitality. So hospitality, in my view, is the friendly and generous reception and care and treatment of guests and strangers. And we really put a lot of emphasis on this when people come through the museum. And it's what we're best known for, in that we really emphasize first and last impressions of our guests that come through the museum here. When people walk into the museum, the first person they see, the first interaction they have really sets a precedent for their experience throughout the remainder of their stay. So we put a lot of emphasis on just being that hospitable, engaging, friendly, ask questions, feel out kind of how our guests, what they're thinking of and what they're expecting when they come to the museum. And that will help dictate how we interact with each one. And then post, visit, when they're leaving our grounds, we also want to engage them. How was it? What do you feel about the museum? How can we improve? Who can you recommend that we contact to let other people know about what we're doing? That helps quite a bit. In all cases, when people leave comments about the experience at the museum here, they're always citing the interactions that they have with our docents and volunteers that are here at the museum. These kinds of interactions leave an indelible and lasting impression on our guests. The point is to make them feel comfortable while they're here and also to excite them to want to come back. And we do that, of course, with the interactions while they're here, but primarily on that post visit, when they're leaving the museum, we follow up and kind of glean what it is that impacted them the most. And then we come up with, on our weekly meetings, we run over our notes of some of the comments that our guests have made to better formulate our interactions. And so that's something that has proven to be a really effective tool in improving our visitor interaction. We want to make this an experience that people will always remember. And so in our training of staff and personnel, we really get them thinking about that when they're interacting with our guests.
Hunter, do you want to give any recommendation to our students or viewers or anybody in the industry that they are planning to get in the industry?
Do research, intern, volunteer, ask a lot of questions. What I found, particularly now we're in the realm of museum business, right? Be curious. Call up the institutions that you really favor, that inspire you, and ask questions. Glean the information from these places as you're formulating your own personal trajectory into the vast arena of hospitality. To look at what inspires you and ask them questions, and that will help you as you develop.
Thank you very much, Hunter. Thanks a lot. It's your view is extremely important because I'm sure some of our viewers here, they never thought a museum can be a hospitality place. So it's kind of spot for them. It's like everything. Museum is also really place that you need to get the hospitality, especially your museum in Framingham. If you guys haven't been, some of our audience are in the Massachusetts. I highly recommend to visit the museum. Before I call the next guest, I will repeat what you said. I'm not disagreeing about it, but I just want to give an assignment as a teacher, as a professor. I'll give an assignment to my audience here. You said you really focus on the first and the last impression. And I will assign a work for the viewers here. When does first impression start for them? That's another thing that we need to discuss in today's world. In the past, when you go to parking lot, the first impression used to start. But now I want the audience to think about it. When do you think the first impression starts? Thank you very much, Hunter. Thanks a lot. So now I'm going to move to our next guest speaker. The next speaker is Rafael Pivot. He is the executive director of the Queen House. So I will give him the floor. Before I start this, thank you for accepting that invitation. And I also would like to mention that he also been in our classes, and students are highly impressed with his the way communicating with the students. So I would like to give you a screen, actually, not the floor, the screen. And I would love to hear what you think about hospitality.
Well, Good afternoon, speakers. Thank you all for being here, and students. And Dr. John, thank you for having me on this call. I think the one word that I want to evoke to the students is emotions. I think we're in the business of emotions. So I did a little bit of research, and I was speaking with a former mentor of mine. His name is Edward Mady, and he has a book coming out called The Human Heart of Luxury. It's not out yet, and I was reading the book, and there was an excerpt in the book which I think summarizes my position on hospitality and why I joined in the first place. So I just wanted to share this part here, and I can give a brief story at the end, and of course, staying within my time frame and my recommendations. So it goes along like this. Luxury isn't a static concept. It's alive, constantly evolving, shaped by the desires, values, aspirations of the people it serves. Luxury is a human as the people who define it. At its core, luxury is about emotions. It's not about beautiful surroundings or flawless service. It's about how you make someone feel. True luxury touches the soul. It creates a connection, a moment of joy, or even a sense of belonging. But there's the thing. What people want and what they value changes over time. And so luxury must change with it. Decades ago, luxury was about exclusivity. It was velvet ropes, whispered conversation in hushed hallways. But today, people don't just want to be served, they want to be seen, they want to feel, they want to know, understand, and be valued. The new luxury isn't about keeping people out, it's about inviting them. It's about personalization, ultra customization, and creating something so unique that it feels as though it was made just for them. As Ed said, luxury is when you start caring about something you didn't think was possible. True scarcity in luxury doesn't lie in the price tag or availability. It's found in crafting moments that create purpose. It's about touching the emotions that people didn't even know they had, those moments of surprise and delight that leave an inedible mark. Both are rooted in connection, empathy, and the desire to make a difference. Businesses across all industries can learn from this, prioritize care, connection, and personalization to foster loyalty and trust. There's no finish line in luxury. What was groundbreaking yesterday is expected today. And what's expected today will be outdated tomorrow. But that's what makes it exciting. Luxury evolves with people. It listens, it learns, it adapts. When leaders embrace this humanistic approach, they can create not just memorable experiences, but transformative ones. At the end of the day, luxury is a mirror. It reflects our values, our aspirations, and our shared humanity. As long as we stay attuned to those deeper needs and craft moments that truly resonate, luxury will remain not just relevant, but timeless. So I read that with my leaders, my management team, because it really sticks with me. Because I've been working, John, in luxury hospitality for about 28 years in 16 different countries, domestically and internationally. And it's, hospitality is if it doesn't come from the heart, it's I don't know, it has a hard time. It has to resonate with you, with everything you do, with what was just said just before this, my talk. It has to connect with you, and I think that's the most important. And what connects with people is emotions. why we go out, why we do what we do. There has to be an emotional connection. So I think the most important is knowing that hospitality is the fundamentals of everything that we do, even when we don't study this particular field. It's in our DNA because we go out, we eat, we have meals, we connect with people, we celebrate in sadness and in happiness. And there's always food, there's always wine, it's convivial, and it's always around us. So I think that if that emotion connects to you and you want to make people happy, you want to make people feel a certain way, whatever the industry, but related to hospitality, there's still a connection. I think that's what we need to focus on. And I guess on closing, my recommendations, similar to others, is just explore. I met a great, I met a client in New York. He was extremely successful and extremely financially stable. And I asked him, what is success? What is success for you? How did you become successful? And the similar answer that I get from everybody is success is a journey. And I think that in the process of figuring out what you want to do, you have to go through the process of elimination. So you have to try all these various facets in our hospitality and say, you know what, I tried travel, I've tried marketing, I've tried whatever it is that you want to try. You just have to try, you have to explore. And in that process, you'll realize what you're leaning towards, and that is what you should continue to focus on. I just wish the students to keep an open mind and to have fun in the process, because hospitality is not complicated. Hospitality is the heart. So if you follow the heart, your heart will always guide you in the right direction. But in that process, make sure you have fun because it's not complicated. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Ralph. Thank you. And the things that you mentioned here is like it shows how much the hospitality is interconnected to other disciplines. I almost felt like this is like almost a philosophy class. Every single thing you said is can be actually discussed over and over. But one thing hit me hard, and I want to share with the audience, and I want them to know it. You said that there's no finish line in luxury. And I agree with you. Like not only for luxury, there's no finish line in our industry, in our work. We have to keep up the good work. Like you said, today maybe is something really luxury and modern, and tomorrow it might be updated. We need to update it. It might be outdated. So thank you very much for your contribution, and I hope to see you on campus or one of our classes again. Thank
Absolutely.
you for joining us. Thanks a lot.
Dr. John, and I just want you to know that those students have the potential to maintaining and updating everything about hospitality. They're the future of hospitality, and we need their input. We need their ideas. We need their involvement. And there's no silly idea that can propel and propulse us to the next offerings that we do. So thank you so much for what you do, and everybody on this call for your time.
Thank you very much, Rocco. All right, our next guest will be Bill Sell. He's the managing partner and advisor communications. The Bill is actually, if you are typically, I would say if you are in Massachusetts, you should have seen him in one of these events. He plans a lot of events. And maybe if I say Massachusetts, I will be underestimating. It's more than the Massachusetts and all over the places. So I will let him to explain what he does and what the hospitality or tourism for him and how he defines. Bill, it's the screen and 10 minutes is yours.
Okay, thank you, Professor. And yeah, it is in a number of different cities and countries. We're actually in 2 weeks going to be in Dallas, Texas, but in December, we were in London and we've just booked another event there. Our business is running events for people, for organizations. They are our client. But when you look at the idea of hospitality versus tourism, tourism to me is the category, the industry overall. But hospitality really is the delivery. So if I pick one word, it is all about delivery. And we are a customer of many of the organizations on this great webinar program here today. The hotels, airlines, different kind of things, even museums and restaurants. We go in, and if I'm doing a large scale event, it could be 5,000 or 6,000 hotel rooms that we're booking at one time. And then the whole process of what do we do? That what do we do is the unique piece to us in this industry. We're going in there and we are, doing the hotel rooms, but it's not like need 100 rooms. I might need 60 rooms that are double doubles. I might need 30 rooms that have king size beds. That is a lot of detail, and we're going to talk about the importance of details in just a moment here. But we're also booking shuttle buses. Oftentimes we are booking flights. We book the venue, the hotel or the convention center that gets used for this. We're making arrangements for catering for all of these folks. Conference registration services. So we have to get you a credential or a badge, but we do that times every single one of the attendees who are coming in. We have to produce handouts or a program guidebook. We have to schedule dinners out and programs for the evening in conjunction with programs, spouse programs. All of those pieces fall on the organizing person. And of course, you have the expo floor that needs to be done. In some cases, it's simple tabletops. Other cases, we're watching and helping arrange to bring in large exhibits and displays, the booth or the stand that needs to be set up. It will come down to us as the organizer to make those arrangements there. When Hunter mentioned that first and last impression, well, one of the hardest things in my part of the business is to get that exact experience right for all of these attendees, because I could have the best conference, the best speakers, the best food, even a great hotel waiting for you, and you get to the airport and your flight is canceled or delayed. It wasn't my problem, but it's now my event that did not have a good first impression. And there are so many externalities that we can't manage. We try to, but in some cases, things just don't work out the way we would like it to be. That is one of the unique things about hospitality. As much as we say the devil is in the details, there are things out there that we just can't plan for correctly. One of the examples of, we were asked to think about maybe any mistakes that we've had here. I did an event in Las Vegas. I had a group of about 300 folks coming from Japan. And without fully understanding culture, I did book Luxor Hotel for them. It's a wonderful hotel with only showers, no bathtubs. And in the Japanese community, the culture, it is take a bath, not a shower. If you've tried to move 300 people on a hotel room block, once you figure out that you have made a mistake, incredibly challenging. A different event I had, we had a client, we were doing about 10,000 rooms in New Orleans. I was moving them from a program that had been scheduled 6 years in advance in Orlando, Florida. And we were able to come up with 9,700 rooms, not the 10,000 that were needed. 9,700 is a big number of people. They were all fine. It was the 300 that we didn't have enough rooms for that became our nightmare. We were ultimately able to get another 100, 120 rooms, but that still left several hundred people who were actually staying much, much further away and having to either rent cars or do shared car service type of things to get back and forth. The details really, really matter. A tour bus is 55 seats. When you're trying to move 200 or 300 people, that's a lot of buses, and you can't have 56 people get on a tour bus if there's only 5,500 seats. Same thing goes with meals. If I'm doing a large scale dinner, I have to have the right number of seats and the right number of meals. And then you add in all of those other factors. I need a gluten-free meal, or I need to have the peanut-free meal, those kinds of things. It's a challenge to make it happen, But hospitality is where we figure this all out and we make sure that we do this delivery and actually make all of this stuff work. So on our end of the business, especially for the students, if you're wondering where this hospitality major could go in your career, there is a side of it where we are a large volume buyer customer, and that the individual attendee is our customer, but we in turn are a customer of all these hotels, the airlines. So think of it that there are other factors, other programs out there that are all tied to this industry that we're all in. And it's a fantastic industry. I'm going on 40 plus years here. It is different every day, and we continue to do it. We all lived through COVID worldwide. We've come back. There are plenty of political things that are crazy out there. Within a few years, many of that will be forgotten, and we continue to be doing this delivery, this hospitality piece. And John, it was great to be in class. We did one online class and we did one in-person one over at Framingham State University. So the students always have great questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bill. And I agree with you. Like, if you are not delivering, I don't know what is the hospitality if you can't deliver it. So I agree with that. And also, I'm looking at the audience here, our guests, and some of them I know they are working in the hotel industry, hotel managers. When you mention about you have to move 300 rooms, they're just shaking their heads. And I'm sure they have done it many times. And I'm not even counting like daily walkouts. But moving out, I remember my early ages in the industry. I had exactly the same scenario, and I was really almost like my first career, like first reception job. I had to handle 2 buses and moving them in 3 different hotels. It's really difficult to explain. However, you can make it. And I know that hospitality mindset make it happen. So thank you very much for telling not only for great things about our hospitality, but also stresses in our hospitality. It's part of it. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. Our next guest speaker is actually our next panelist is, if you are in joining one of these or career services, if career events in Boston, I'm sure you will see the Helen and with different employees. My students actually got used to and talking about her. She is in our industry, and I would like to, I don't want to steal her line. I just want to call her for the screen, and I would like to give her 10 minutes, and I can't wait to hear her stories.
Yes, greetings to everyone from Boston, Massachusetts. And Dr. John, thank you so much for the introduction. It is truly a pleasure to be part of this panel. So where do I start, right? I could talk for hospitality for hours. I'm a big talker, but I'm not going to do this to you all today. But what I would truly share when it comes to tourism and hospitality, what is tourism, right? From my personal experience, I would say tourism, it's a gate to the world, right? It's an opportunity for us to be able to connect, to explore, to discover a different world, a different mentality, a different culture, a different way of doing things, right? And it's a fantastic feeling. And we can get a lot from that. We can gain by adapting and understanding, the tactics, the ways of thinking, the ways of living, which are great traits that we can bring into our workforce, right? Because we work in a very, very diversified environment, and we need to be able to understand how people operate and why. Especially in the human resources world, which, it's a big asset for us to know that. Hospitality. I will share a feeling from my first trip to Egypt. I was, I would say, probably 18 years old when I took my first trip to Cairo. And I truly understood what hospitality was then, right? I could definitely share an experience. So, I was very, very blessed. My husband, is from Egypt. So he took me to the fanciest places, to also the very, very local places where they don't have as much wealth as some of the, prestige areas. And what I realize is that hospitality has nothing to do with how luxurious you are. It has nothing to do with how wealthy you are, of how impressive your property might be or your house might be, right? But what is important is what do you do to make your guests happy? And I could tell you the best hospitality I experienced was, in some of the most um, poor areas. And I would have people that gave me the best of what they have, even if what they had was literally nothing. But they treated us, like queens and kings, and they wanted us just to be happy and joyful. And it really opened my eyes. And I realized that hospitality is the feeling, it's how we make our guests feel. It's what we do to make sure that they're accommodated, that they're treated well, and that they feel content on where they are. So I thought that was a great experience and eye-opening. And why am I bringing this up? It's because, as you may know, hospitality, we all have, the fancy restaurants, we all have the fancy and renovated rooms, we all have our lobbies and so on. But the only thing that will differentiate us is what do we do? How do we create that feeling where that guest feels that they are the most important person, right, in that space? So I always try to keep that in mind. And when I talk to my coworkers and when we train the associates, I always tell them just have genuine feelings. Do the right thing, not because you have to, because it's the right thing to do, right? So it's just the core, the basic things that we can never ever forget, even when we train or even when we, try to teach how to be the best at the customer service. Is don't forget the basics. It's the greetings, it's the warmth. It's just generally feeling as this is your home and you're inviting someone to come in. So that would be, what I would definitely give as a message to the students and anyone that's, interested in hospitality. And the other very important thing, as the previous panelist shared, hospitality comes with the good, the bad, and the ugly. We do have our long hours, our long days, our stressful moments. But no matter what, make sure that you choose something that you love. And only when you love what you do, you will be successful and you'll be able to, to adhere to all those challenges that come with it. But it is a fantastic field, and I hope everybody gets a chance to at least once in their lifetime work in the hospitality industry.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Helen. Actually, it's great to hear that and actually emphasize that the hospitality is not really, there's no currency on the hospitality. Like if you want to give a good service, you don't need any currency sign on it. You can give it
Absolutely.
anytime you want. That's really hitting things, and I love to hear that. Do the right things. You don't have to be in the hospitality, like in general. That's why I keep telling the students the hospitality mindset is doing the right thing, and this is something that you can apply everywhere and anytime in your life. So it's really extremely powerful message. Thank you very much for doing that and
Of course.
inviting our students. I agree with you. I will give you a little story from my experience too. We have long hours. We have short shifts. You may be working till midnight and coming back at 6 a.m. Just because of that, I'm so used to sleep anytime I want. And like, because in even 10 minutes, you get used to sleep easily. You get used to wake up easily. And my own experience in my life, 22 years in my career, 22 years, I did not celebrate any holidays on time. It was always a day after a day before. And however, now I'm a professor, I have 3 months to celebrate the thing. So my thing is, it pays back. It pays back as long as you love what you do, which I do love what I'm doing right now. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Of
And
course, my pleasure.
and for the next guest, I'm not sure if our next guest is here. So I'm going to make a little call. If he's here, I will ask to upfront. Our guest speaker is actually, as you know, the guests, our panelists are from different part of the world right now. And the next one is joining us from Ankara, from Turkey. And if Oz is here, I will pull him. If not, we're just gonna move the next panelist. Is the Oz here or no? Should I just move the next one? Because I didn't see in the list. He may be having some technical problems with the time differences. If he's not here, maybe we can move the next panelist, and we can always bring him back once he can join us, right?
He's not here yet. I don't see.
Okay, I didn't see that. So if our next speakers is ready, if the Stacy is ready, I can actually move to inviting her here. Stacy, are you here and can you join us? Oh. She may not be here either because our guests, our panelists are joining, depends on the time. But I know some of our panelists are here. I will call one by one whoever is here and willing to step up. We can just move forward. And I can go to the next one. And these guest speakers, the panelists, I'm expecting them to join us. Maybe the time differences and timing, but let's move the next one. And is Patrick here? Patrick Downing. Jake, are you here? Are you willing to join us?
Yeah, I see Jake here.
If you are ready and you are willing to, I will call you on the stage. I'll actually the screen and we'll give your 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Jake, I think your internet connection is quite slow, or I cannot hear him well. I don't know if. Can you hear him well, John?
No, I can't. It's making an echo and it's not clear. While Jake is working on it, can we go like next couple panelists, if they are willing to do that, then we can just save time and we don't lose the audience. Serkan, will you be able to do it? Will you be the next panelist here?
Yeah, definitely.
Jake, how about if we just put you like on a hold in the next 10 minutes while we are talking with the Serkan? Hopefully you will be able to fix the internet thing. Right? Let's go at Serkan. So I'm gonna Serkan is also one of the hotel managers here in Massachusetts, and I know he has a lot of stories to share, but I will limit him with the 10 minutes. It's all yours.
Hey, thank you so much for having me here. So my name is Serkan Askin. So I am currently Assistant General Manager for the Marriott Hotels. I am pursuing the MBA at University of Amherst. Almost I have 20 years hotel experience. So just I work in Turkey and United States. So the most important thing for the hospitality, if I need to explain for the one word, I can say art of making people feel seen, valued, and no matter where they are in the world, I can say. So just I do want to share one example. So I believe it was 2010 or 2011. So I was working as a doorman. It's the luxurious hotel in the Turkey, Sungate Hotel. So we did have a very big group. So we had a 600 check-in and 600 check-out. Be honest, it was big operation for us. So that was a problem, be honest. So just the John of the one of the group leaders. So we lost his luggage, unfortunately. So just he's desperately looking for his luggage, maybe almost 1 hour and we couldn't find it. So just I got in. So just after certain times, maybe it took me a lot because we did have 800 rooms. So just it was not easy to find his luggage. So, but after 2 hours, I got in. I found it, his luggage, and he was really sick and he needs his medicine. So just he was always thankful every time he is coming. Maybe they did stay 3 or 4 days, but he always come next to me. And after certain time, so we become kind of best friend. So he lives in US. Basically, I live in Turkey at that point. So I was the college student. So after certain time, so just talking. He was really curious about the Turkey, and he came to Turkey with his friends, family. So other years, then I was almost graduating, and I said that, hey, what should I do? So I'm scared, kind of. So I'm going to graduate this year. So just he gave me the one advice, basically. So hey, come to US. There's too many hotel brand, and there's a Marriott, Hilton. So I listened to him. Be honest. So just I came to here, and right now, so I am middle of my career, and I'm very happy. And one recommendation for the students: never underestimate where a single guest interaction can take you. Every moment is chance to grow, be honest. And also for the hospitality is kind of begin with the how you make people feel. That is the most important thing for me, be honest. So just I'm very happy. Where am I?
Thank you. Thank you, Serkan. Do you have any recommendation for our viewers here? Like if they want to join the industry, how they can find that person, like the one change your life. So what do you recommend them, you know?
So just always open mind, and just as I said, they need to talk, and they need to give a chance, talk, understand what's going on, basically. So just they need to be open-minded.
I see. I see. Wonderful. I actually like your stories, and it came to me really very, very familiar. It's a similar experiences I had. And I had many people like you mentioned in your story. Each of them has a contribution to my career today. In a way, they changed my life. I don't categorize them positive or negative, but I believe in completely they changed my life. Even difficulties or sometimes difficulties, but in general, they are contributing our life. Thank you for joining. So now we can go to next speaker. I see the Jake here. Jake, do you think that you're ready that we can take you, or should we go back and ask other guest speakers?
I'm ready if you can hear me. I logged out and
Let's
logged
go
back
ahead.
in.
Let's go ahead. I can't wait to listen your 10 minutes.
All right. Well, great. I'm glad that worked. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you for the opportunity to contribute. I hope it's of value and that the students get something out of it. I guess the first question was the one word, yeah. It is human connection. So, connection with self and connection with others and connection with communities and cultures. So more of a holistic view on what hospitality means.
Can we connect this with a story that you had, like that we can visualize it, or at least we can elaborate on it?
Yeah, happy to. So I'm the founder of Transformational Travel Council, and we focus on more, like I said, a holistic approach to creating experiences, creating peak experiences. And so we've dived into what does it mean to be moved, to be inspired, to be potentially transformed. And so we've studied positive psychology, we've studied anthropology, neuroscience, biophilic design to land on some concepts and framework and a theory of change that is all about what I think travel and hospitality is and should be focused on, is making people alive, feel alive, and to thrive. And so, what does that mean? Like, how do we make people feel alive? There's a concept called a word called eudaimonia. Maybe some of you have heard it, and it's all about human flourishing. You know, what can we do to help us as individuals and all of humanity to flourish? And that is to feel happy, to feel joy, to feel connected, as some of you mentioned, to feel seen and to feel understood. And so that concept of eudaimonia comes from Aristotle, and I think just it is a wonderful and simple way of looking at why we do what we do, and the work that we put in should be directed at that simple feeling or emotion, as one of my colleagues mentioned. Going a little bit further, there's a concept called the overview effect. And the overview effect is this moment that has been described by astronauts when they get up into space and they have that moment where they look back at the big blue marble, and they are moved so deeply that it transforms who they are and how they see the world. It immediately shifts their perspective. It opens their hearts and minds, and they start to recognize the interconnectedness of everything. And so, you know, going a little bit further from that sense of feeling alive, there's that opportunity to transcend, to shift our perspectives, to have behavior change, ultimately to become better versions of ourselves, to become better citizens, to take more agency in how we show up in the world. And so I think that is the ultimate hospitality, and a story that I think, you know, outlines or is a good example is my own transformative travel story that I'll share with you, and I'll share it in the context of like a transformative process that can be applied in a hospitality or a travel setting. And it was a walk up Kilimanjaro with some of my closest friends 10 years ago. Actually, it was 11 years ago, 2 months and 6 days ago, that we decided to come together and embark on a walk up Kili. And at that time, I was going through some challenging times personally and professionally, really questioning, you know, my space in tourism and where tourism was going, and felt that it was, you know, really that there was a sense of entitlement and expectation and ego that was really diminishing the potential and possibility of travel. And so I started toying around with ideas of like bringing more intention to this walk up Kili. And so, you know, the night before we came around, we decided that, you know, on the way up the mountain, we were going to talk about you know, the first half of our lives. You know, what did we celebrate? What did we learn? What did we, you know, what did we want to take with us? What did we want to leave behind? And so as we embarked on that trip, we had lots of really great questions and, you know, and prompts and deep and vulnerable conversations about where we were in our lives. And it really allowed us to feel this deep sense of presence, right? And it wasn't necessarily, you know, in a traditional hospitality setting, but in that moment, you know, the group was being hospitable, the guide was being hospitable and offering care. You know, the mountain was taking care of us. And so by the time we reached the summit, because we had, you know, had such rich conversations and we had sort of assigned, you know, this meaning to this experience and to this trip, you know, the sun was coming up and we were at the summit, and you know, one of my friends, you know, he just started to cry. Tears started rolling down his face, and you know, it wasn't long before, you know, the entire group, I think there was 10 of us men in our 40s and 50s, and we were crying, just bawling on each other's shoulders, because we recognized that the mountain meant so much more, and I think that's sort of that sense of feeling alive, right? It put it in perspective. We were able to assign meaning to that experience. And so then on the way back down, we were able to reflect on, like, where did we want to go in life? Where did we want to, what was next? What energy and intention did we want to bring to our families, to our communities, to our work? What was going to be our purpose in the second half of life? And once we got down, we were able to celebrate and bring in, weave in ritual and ceremony and really honor the experience together, honor the community that gave us this gift and the opportunity to travel. And that ultimately set the course and got me inspired to start the Transformational Travel Council and see how we can unlock travel to have these peak experiences that transform us. So I think that's the ultimate hospitality, is when we can make people feel at that depth, but not just feel, assign meaning, and then take meaningful action in your life.
Jake, before I let you go, I just want to make a comment. But before I do that, I just want to hear if you have any recommendation students to, or doesn't have to be students, or even educators and the viewers, for them to be successful in this industry,
Yeah. And I hope you didn't mind my story. I know you wanted to make it personal, so I gave you a personal story. Right. Yeah, I think that right now our industry is in a bit of a crisis and existential crisis, and there is a really shortage of good and powerful, meaningful travel experiences out there. And with that, I think that we've lost a lot of young talent. I'm really excited to hear that these students are on the path of getting into the space. But I think part of the challenge that the industry faces is that it's been too focused on service and sort of lost its way in terms of like how we can create impact. So I think as students looking at their career, kind of getting out of that mind of like just being service oriented and looking at the opportunity to transform lives and transform, communities, and understanding that, and staying committed to that, their conscience and that their humanity is not for sale, and to be aligned with their purpose and values, and find those organizations, those hotels, those travel companies and destinations that make them feel alive, so they can pass that on to their guests or to their travelers.
Absolutely, I can't agree. I can disagree actually. And your story, I actually liked it because in hospitality, making things personal makes it much, much more effective. And especially, I was thinking about your overview effect. We see that a lot in the management when we promote someone from buddy to boss, because you're now looking at the things from the different level, and the overview effect kicks in when you move on the different level. Definitely, we mention a lot in the management, and we make it like little understandable for our students. When you become a boss from buddy to boss, you're in a different level. So you have to see the things in different level too. Thank you very much, your experience and story. I loved it, and thank you for sharing that. Our next panelist is actually from our Tourism Visitors Bureau, Metro West, and she is the executive director. And I happen to have a chance to see her once a month if I don't miss the meetings. Sorry, I do miss some time to time because of my travel schedule. But I can't wait to hear Stacy's stories and definition about tourism or hospitality. And Stacy, the screen and the 10 minutes is yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to see that you have such a large group joining you on the conversation. As mentioned, I am the executive director for the Metro West Boston Visitors Bureau. So we are what is known in Massachusetts as a regional tourism council. So there are 16 of us in the state. We are a quasi public-private nonprofit where we get state funding, but we also raise some private match funding. And we are one of 16 different regional tourism councils in the state. So our job in its essence is to be an economic development driver. We do that through marketing the region's tourism and hospitality businesses. So there are 19 towns in my region. For those of you who are from Massachusetts, we run Hudson on the north to Franklin on the south, and Wayland and Natick on the east to Northborough, Westborough on the west. So we're that north-south corridor right outside of sort of Boston Metro proper. It's interesting, the whole idea of tourism versus hospitality, and I asked this in an email to John earlier. When you say tourism or when you say hospitality, do you use those terms interchangeably or not? It's interesting because my job is marketing tourism and hospitality, and I would make the argument that if you do it right, they're the same thing, because every tourism business should be hospitable. It should all be about hospitality. In my role, we market a wide range of what we consider tourism and hospitality type businesses. So hotels and restaurants, of course, but attractions, nonprofits, so museums and cultural institutions as well, but also small retailers. So basically, think about when you go on vacation, what kinds of places do you go to? What do you see and do? All of that falls under my umbrella. For me, I think my definition of tourism or hospitality, take your pick, is really about memory making and therefore about storytelling. Because if you think about it at its essence, this is why we travel. Right? We travel to experience something new and different, to build a memory. And if you do it well and you do it right, then you have helped somebody build a memory that they then tell a story about later. From an economic development standpoint, it's what encourages people to travel more and to travel back to you specifically. But ultimately, I think it's why we travel at all. So in my view, as a tourism and hospitality professional, your job should be to help someone create that memory. And that can be in big ways by creating an attraction or an experience that is utterly unique, that people cannot see or do anywhere else, that is so mind-blowing they talk about it forever. But it can also be because you created a special moment. And that can be something as simple as a personal connection. So I love Jake's story about his personal connection, because I think that that's really important. And somehow you have created meaning for that person, and therefore it becomes a story that they tell later on. So you asked for personal stories. I'll tell you a personal story of mine. I love to travel. I travel a lot. Years and years ago, my husband and I did a tour of Europe before we had kids. One of the places that we went was Italy. And outside of Milan, we had booked a reservation at a castle hotel. This was back before GPS. And so we were going based on maps and directions. And the address was literally the hill outside of town, such and such. So it had no street address. So we get to this town, and this town is not even a one stoplight town. There isn't even that much. And we see no hill. And we're driving around, and we stopped a couple of times to ask directions from people. And I had done, Berlitz tapes ahead of time, and had learned just enough Italian to ask for directions. And I keep asking, and I keep getting, la 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 back in Italian. And I'd get back in the car, and I'd say, I think they said. And we did that 2 or 3 times, and turns out the hill outside of town was a mountain, and the castle sat at the top of the mountain. And so we finally get to the top of this mountain, and we're driving in circles, and we see a man on a scooter, and he stops and asks if we need help. And we said, we're trying to find Castello di Stefanago, and we're lost. And he said, this is my place, follow me. And so he takes us around. We happen to be at the backside. He takes us around, and we get out, and he says, are you going to stay for dinner with us? And we thought, well, are we going to drive all the way back down this mountain again and try to go find some place where we're going to stay? And I said, well, what kind of food do you have? What's on the menu? And he said, well, what do you want to eat? And so I said, okay, we'll stay. So we stayed. Turns out that the restaurant was, 100 steps back down the mountain. And we come in, and it's this tiny little place, very Italian. Nobody speaks English. There are maybe 10 or 12 tables inside, and there is no menu at all. They just start bringing us food. So we have a couple of different appetizers, and then we have a pasta course, and then we have the main course, and then we have dessert, and they brought us a bottle of wine. And my husband at some point turns to me and says, "How much do you think this is going to cost?" And I said, "I have absolutely no idea. But maybe this is our big splurge meal out. It's fine. It is what it is, right?" So we have this fantastic meal, and the next morning we go to check out, and I go to sign the bill, and I realize that they didn't charge us for dinner. And so I'm trying to communicate to this lovely little old lady in Italian that they haven't charged us, right? And this was a great agritourism location where they had their own farms and their own vineyards, and so everything was produced there. And so we go back and forth and back and forth, and I'm trying to explain to her, we bought a couple of bottles of wine, and yes, that's on the bill, but dinner was not. And so finally she comes back and she understands, and she puts it on the bill, and she's so very grateful that we told her we had not been charged for it, that she insists on giving me an extra free bottle of wine as a thank you. And I look at the bill, it was $25 for dinner. And I thought, "Oh my heavens," And here they had been so gracious and so lovely to us for $25, right? And it's a story that I have told many times in the 25 years since that happened, because it was true hospitality, right? They were grateful to us for having been there and interacted with them, and for being honest and not trying to take advantage. We were grateful at how kind and hospitable they had been. And it's become one of my favorite stories from that trip, right? It was not a big moment in the sense of there was nothing that happened there that was an earth-shattering $1 million investment on their part, right? It was hospitality. It was a personal connection. And it created a memory for me. And that memory is one that I have now turned into a story. Because as I started this conversation with, to me, good hospitality and good tourism is about that memory making and that storytelling, right? And that's why we do it. And so it's what I would say should be your ultimate goal as you go out into the world as a hospitality professional, is to always approach every interaction as though it were your own, right? Put yourself in those shoes to say, if you were somebody who spent their hard-earned cash to go on vacation or out to dinner or to that resort or to that attraction or that museum or whatever it is, that you would want somebody to treat you in that fashion, right? And to create a lovely little story that they can take home and treasure and retell over the years, until it sort of becomes their own legend, right?
Thank you very much, Stacey. This is actually when I hear this story, it reminds me the story that I experienced in the Visitors Bureau. I remember like a few years ago, before COVID, actually, we were discussing about what can we do for our region, how we can get the tourist here. And one of the board members that I remember said that, well, there's nothing to see here, so how can we bring the people here? And the first thing comes to my mind is the Las Vegas. I said, well, if you are sitting in the board of the Las Vegas 100 years ago, and if you say the same thing, we would never have a Las Vegas. So they created their own stories, and the Las Vegas is, if it's not the first, one of the first destinations in the world visited, because they created this story. They have their own stories. I believe sometimes we create it. So thank you very much for supporting us and giving a really great story. And I had millions of stories like that in different parts of the world. They were not always pleasant, but mostly pleasant. So I can tell you that they're really great. Thank you very much. I also would like to tell the audience just a quick article that I had recently. I think the last month, I read an article. It was an interview with Uber's CEO, the Dara Khosrowshahi, and he said actually the schools, the universities, they have to teach students two things if they really want to compete with the AI. And the number one thing was storytelling. So that's something that he was telling. That's how you can compete with the AI. I will leave it open. I'm not agree or disagree, but it has a point over there. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. And now I'm gonna call our next panelist. I'm not sure if the Oz is here. If he is here, he can stand up. If not, I will move to next panels. We only have 3 panelists left. As far as I see that the Oz is not here from Turkey for whatever the reason is, but I'm checking if the Patrick is here, Patrick Downing. So Patrick,
Hi, John.
you are here. Thank you, Patrick.
I am here.
Thank you for joining us. And what I will do is I will let you to introduce yourself. I know who you are, but I don't want to steal your lines. I want to leave you to explain yourself and answer simply with one word, one sentence, what the hospitality or tourism for you, and what recommendations you have for our students or audience. And I'm leaving you the screen in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me. I have the difficult task of falling behind Stacy, so thank you, Stacy, for setting the bar high. Um, as background, technically, I'm a pharmacist by training. My wife and I are both pharmacists. We've owned pharmacies in the past. I've run pharmacies for decades. And not too long ago, decided that as I got older, I wanted to branch out into something that was more fun. And quite frankly, hospitality is in both my wife's and my genes. And so we knew we wanted to do something in that space. And so we decided to open a distillery called Glen Farmer Distillery and start producing alcohol because whoever said drugs and alcohol don't mix just didn't find the right way to blend the two together. So for me, the way I would distill down the definition of hospitality, no pun intended, is selfless anticipation. If you think about it, it really has nothing to do with ourselves. It's about what we're envisioning and what we're anticipating for our guests. And so if you can forget about your own needs for a minute and focus on the needs of your guests, and you can anticipate what those needs and what those wishes are, then you're going to find yourself offering hospitality. And so the best way that I can describe that from a story perspective is really in how we created our customer experience. And you might think, well, how could creating an alcohol brand have anything to do with hospitality? And the short answer is nothing. But on the other hand, what does building an alcohol brand have to do with hospitality? And I would tell you that it has everything to do with it. If you can set aside the basic requirement that to build a successful spirits brand, you have to produce an excellent product that people will enjoy. That's a given. So if we can set that aside, I'm going to focus on how hospitality contributes to building a brand. And for Glen Farmer Distillery, hospitality is central to that mission. In fact, it's the first of our core values. And so for us, if you think about building a brand, what you're really trying to do is build ambassadorship. And so as we decided to build our distillery and organize the vision for our company, everything that we do is centered around hospitality, including our physical distillery, the actual location. We knew that that would be a key part of our equation. And so the goal was to create brand ambassadors through experiential engagement with selfless anticipation. There's a lot of big words there, but they all have very deliberate meaning in how we can use hospitality to ultimately create engagement and create the ambassadors that are going to help us grow our spirits brand. And so we wanted Glen Farmer to be a destination. And everything that we did, all of the decisions that we made around that were centered on that idea that we were going to create a destination. Most people might think of tourism as going to an island or a mountain or something. For us, we're working, to your point about Las Vegas, we're working with what we have. And in this particular case, we decided to take an old textile mill and refurbish it because we thought if we can create a cool, rustic industrial vibe that people would find that interesting. And then if we could make the operation of a distillery with the copper stills and all the gleaming stainless steel, if we could make that a focal part of the interaction when guests came to visit us, that would also create an interesting vibe and people would enjoy that. Those design or background elements are central to us providing hospitality because they set the stage for what we're going to try to create for them. And so for us, in doing that, what we did is we tried to create different experiences that people would want to go to, experiences that people sought out, experiences that people would be proud to tell others about. Because we knew at the same time, if they're talking about Glen Farmer in that way, then they're also talking about our spirits. And ultimately, we are in the business of trying to sell alcohol, but we're very much in the business of creating experiences. So we chose to build our distillery in the textile mill. We made the stills and all of the production equipment essential part of arriving and seeing what goes on when you visit us. But then in addition to that, we have multiple offerings that we're making for our guests that can engage our guests as we create opportunities for them to experience our brand. And all of that is done with what, again, I say is selfless anticipation, because depending on what they're coming for, we're trying to make sure that we're anticipating what they wish, what they're looking for, what their desires are, and at the very basic level, what their needs are. So for us, we offer one of the things that we do differently. Many distilleries have tasting rooms. We paired our tasting room with an executive chef and a culinary team that offers a food pairing that complements our spirits and does it in a polished, casual environment that creates a very different vibe than most people find when they go to distilleries. Similarly, our cocktail program is elevated. It's very sensory. We do things from smoking cocktails, which not only creates visual stimulation, but it also creates a smell because we're literally burning wood chips as we smoke the cocktail. We do lots of things to try to create a sensory perception among our guests that will combine in this notion that we're going to a lot of effort to create elevated experiences for them. In addition, we do cocktail programs. So this is a form of edutainment, as we call it, edutainment, which is we're trying to entertain people, but what we're also trying to do is give them knowledge, help them understand our brand story, help them understand what it is that we do in creating the spirits that are inherently part of the cocktails that we're teaching them how to create. So we do tours, we do tastings. We have a host of events that we allow to occur that we participate in. So we host weddings, we host corporate events, private parties. All of these are intended to be different opportunities for guests to engage with our brand, all the while they're going to try cocktails, they're going to try spirits, they're going to learn about our brand story from our team, and they're going to become interested, hopefully, if we do our job well. So all of these things are done in support of a broader brand. It's not just about a restaurant, which many people may see us when they come to visit. It's not just about a tour. It's not just about somebody had their wedding or some company had their corporate party at our venue. There are all opportunities for these people to engage with us. And if we can anticipate what those hosts are doing when they're hosting a party, when they're hosting a wedding, if we can understand what's important to them as they try to put on the best reception for their guests, then we're going to create experiences that ultimately are going to be memorable. And as Stacy said, that people are going to talk about, that they're going to tell stories about. And that happens on a daily basis for us. We're very proud of that. So all of these things that are hospitality actually support the basic premise of us selling alcohol, because people are proud to be associated with our brand when they come to visit, and they're proud to tell others about when I went to this distillery. It was such a unique experience. This is what they did, and this is how they organize it. And their employees seem happy because we understand at a core level that if you want your team to provide hospitality to others, then they need to feel empowered, they need to feel appreciated, and they need to be in a supportive environment that allows them to forget about our own problems for a day as we try to make all of our guests feel special. And so that's the way I would describe our story. And in terms of recommendations, the thing that I would offer is that it's so important to pay attention to details. People underestimate how important in hospitality, it's all about the details. And even though you might not always get credit or validation that you've actually been addressing the details, it's inherently understood that if you're taking care of the details of the guest experience, they ultimately are going to have an overall impression that is a positive one, and that contributes to the hospitality that we're trying to offer. One of the things that I always say is don't fall victim to an erosion of your brand standards. For us at Glen Farmer, hospitality is part of our brand standard. And it's easy to forget about, oh, this isn't such a big deal, or this one time, or I'm busy doing this. I don't have time to take care of that for this person, or everything else is fine. And I'm a big believer that people don't set out to have poor performing businesses. It's a gradual erosion that occurs over time. And it's important to maintain brand standards. And hospitality for us is one of those brand standards. And then lastly, I would say, especially nowadays, it's important to figure out how to create engagement within your team so that they can offer the guest experience and the hospitality that you want to promote. Everybody's different. Generationally, people are different. They learn different, they communicate differently. You have to figure out how is it that you can create that engagement within your team. Because if you want to provide hospitality, you got to have an engaged team who believes in what you're trying to promote.
Great. Thank you very much. Really great stories and great recommendations. Specifically, you are in an area that many people maybe outside of the United States may not connect that how much you are in the hospitality. One distillery can be serving like a restaurant, but at the same time, high level of restaurant, but also serving like an event management, but also going for the details. But I'm really impressed with the your opening description, which is anticipation, like anticipate what the guest wants. This is something a lot of great companies, luxury companies, they apply to train their employees. The reason I know it, I was also training the new hires when I was in Four Seasons Hotels, and I was trying to teach them and you have to know what guests needs, even though they don't know what they need. You should know what they need.
Yes.
And they were really getting really complicated, and they were asking me, what do you mean? Like, they don't really know what they want, and I should know what they want or they need? And I said, yes, they may not know what they need, but you should know it. And I was giving an example. Let's say it's raining outside. They need an umbrella. They don't know they need it, but you know they need it. So
Yeah.
it's really simple example to tell them that anticipate your guest. You also brought me to think about two great CEOs in the history. Not all of them are history. One of them is the Schultz, like Howard Schultz, the CEO of the Starbucks and founder of the Starbucks. And he said, we are in the human business, happen to serve a coffee. So it's almost the same thing for what you described. You are in a human business, you happen to serve the alcoholic beverage. It's almost the same thing. One more thing that you mentioned, I would like to connect with one of the CEOs said, very famous CEO, Walt Disney, from the founder of the Disneyland. He said, people can feel the perfection. So you cannot really mimic it. If it's not perfect, people will understand it. If you think that we'll do it and people not going to understand it, you're in the wrong business. In hospitality, people can understand it, the perfection. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Really,
My pleasure.
Educational lines for us, and we are all learning together today. I have a couple more panelists here. I will call the Raja. Raja is one of the hotel chains, the area director. He's the general manager. And I know he has good stories for us. And I would like to give him the screen for 10 minutes. Raja, can we call you? You are on mute. It's a popular word after COVID. You are on mute, you know.
All right. Thank you so much, John. Hi, everyone. I am Raja. I am an area general manager for Marriott. I have worked with the Hilton as well and some of the other hotels in Dubai and then mostly in USA for over 18 years. Hospitality for us, I mean, just right at the core where we are actually delivering it is the most important thing, is the connecting with the guest, with the people. I mean, somebody says that, hospitality is that making sure that you make the guests feel like that they are at home, even though you want they were back there, right? So what they are expecting once they are coming to your hotel, once they are going anywhere, any business, it doesn't matter that if it's just a hotel or anywhere else. It's that once you take them away from their worries for that particular day, once whatever they were doing for the whole day of work, once they come to you either to dine or go for any drink or come to the hotel for a check-in, you need to disengage them from that tiredness and connect with them personally. And a lot of things have changed over a period of time, especially with these Google Assist devices. Everything is being looked up online by the guests. So they know a lot of these things online already about the area where they have to go, how your hotel looks like, what features you have, what amenities you have. So pretty much they know, but the only difference is at the end is your personal connection with the person. That's where the hospitality will get delivered. And that's where they are going to remember that, you know what, this place is different. This person is different. Giving you examples, so it was a while ago, we had a snowstorm going on and one of our guests was lost. So she called the hotel for directions. We gave them the direction. They were not able to still find our hotel. And again, due to the snowstorm as well, it was very hard. And this I'm talking about a little bit while ago, once there were no GPS. At that time, I said, you know what, you need to find a place where you are so that we can come and get you. She seems or sounded a little bit older lady. We did not know that at that point. So I said, you know what, let me go and help her out and bring her to the hotel. It was around maybe 10 p.m. at night, and snow is a little bit problem over here. So I went there. So she told me one of the street. I searched for those street online, and then I said, okay, I'm coming over there. So we went there. I got her back and then brought her safely to the hotel, and she was very happy. Now that is the difference. Like, although do had I have not gone there. She said that she called after 1 hour after trying to search for the hotel herself. But it made a huge difference for her because she was panicking. She was really tired and she wanted to get to the room. And it made her really comfortable. And that's where the difference is that, once you try to connect to a person, especially I'm talking about at the hotel level, that is going to change their perspective, their thinking, and they will remember that hotel, that location, that restaurant forever. And that's what they're going to tell the others as well. With the nowadays, all this social media, all these comments, all these recommendations, all these quick thumbs up, they make a huge difference. The young generation is looking at those one. Once they have it, then they try to mimic what the others have experienced through the reviews, and then they add to it. So that's how the chain keeps on going nowadays. And we need to understand, especially if you are a student, for you, I want to make sure that one should understand hospitality is that you have to connect really closely. You have to be yourself. Don't try to be something else which you are not. Just be yourself and enjoy what you are doing. You are at front desk, you are in housekeeping, you are in maintenance, you are a shuttle driver, you are in any capacity. Once you will connect with them and being yourself, automatically people would love that. People want different things. They don't want the generic scripts. They don't want the generic things. So they want to connect on the personal level. It's very, very important. And unfortunately, post COVID, things have a little bit different. They have changed. People do not want to get connected that much as well. But at the end, it comes to you, how you are going to break that ice and connect with them and deliver the hospitality from your perspective. At the end, then comes back, the whole team is supposed to be together on this. It's not only one place. If the front desk is delivering that hospitality and housekeeping is being met in the hallway and they don't do that, it's a problem, right? So there is a whole team needs to be brought together, and it has to be that culture into the team that has to be cultivated, and you will find the results down the road for any business. That's pretty much it, John. Anything else?
Any recommendations for our students, our audience, if they want to enter the business, how to handle or what to do in the snowstorm?
Yes, yeah, just be yourself and try to think that you have to deliver the best expectation. Try to meet to their expectation. Make them happy, make them feel like a home, that there is a personal connection. I would say enjoy. I think somebody else before said as well that be yourself, and you have to love what you are doing. And automatically you will learn along the way different ways to deal with the different people. There will be no set answer for each and every problem. Every guest would be different. Someone else also said that there is so much diversification. So every person has a meaning of a particular thing in a different way. So you might not have to use the same approach to the other person. So that's what you need to do. So enjoy. It's great industry everywhere. Hospitality, you can deliver. You would love the industry. You would enjoy the industry. You will meet new people, and you will make the long-term friends. Trust me, they will come back to you. And it's a very small world. Everywhere you will meet them all over the globe.
Right. Thank you very much, Raja. It was really enjoyable to listen. And for some of our audience are living and joining us in different parts of the world. Some of them, they may not know what the snowstorm is. We know, we really know. And I will let you guys to Google it and watch some Massachusetts snowstorms. And don't feel pity for us. Just to make connected for a story, when I came to Massachusetts 25 years ago, I came from Miami Beach. I was a hotel manager over there. I took a plane to talk about job offer here, but I came to here with my shorts and slippers. As soon as I arrived, there was a snowstorm. I didn't know it can be that bad. So it was a really interesting story. A couple things you mentioned, I would like to give a little more elaboration on it. One of them is you mentioned teamwork. And some of our audience here, students are watching, and I hope they understand the importance of the teamwork in hospitality. We understand it. That's why every single of our classes are designed with the group works. Sometimes the students don't like the group works, but I try to explain them, this is what you will do rest of your life, to work together. So you have to learn it, how to do it. That's one thing I would like to mention. And the next thing is be yourself concept. It's a story that I had years and years ago when I was working for the Kempinski hotels, and I was training the people. Depends on the country we were in. In some countries, because some countries has really hospitality culture, I used to tell them this hotel is your home, and this people coming to your home is your guest. Take care of them. That was all training. So they know the concept of feeling like a home and welcoming the people and accepting them like a guest. This may not work every single part of the culture in the world, every single part of the country. However, some countries it worked perfect, and simply saying them, be yourself is a really great advice. Thank you very much. I think we have one more panelist, but I haven't seen him here. And I will do my last call before we are going to closing. If the Oz is here, he was planning to join us from Turkey. I'm not sure if he's available or not, but it looks he's not here. Before I close this, I will ask one question to our organizer and the president of the Institution of Tourism. Are we taking any questions, or are we closing here? And I know the people are tiring after 2 hours, but I just want to let you to decide for that.
Well, up to you, but I see still many people here. If there are any questions, please go ahead. I don't know. Are there any questions, actually? I saw some questions in the chat box, but maybe they are not here or so. Are there any questions?
I have a question from Jamaica. Greetings to everyone. I truly enjoyed every single presentation and learned from every single presentation. I've been involved in hospitality for quite some time and believe that I am an ambassador in Jamaica to welcome every guest that I meet on the airplane when I'm coming in and traveling, on the street, wherever. I'd like to ask, what is your definition of, well, you have a definition of hospitality, but notice it has the word hospital. And we often say, my husband and I, Theo, I'm Sharon Oshun, Paris Chambers, people are coming either from a hospital and they're sick and tired of doing the same thing. They're sick and tired of their jobs. They're sick and tired of the husbands, boyfriends, and whatever. So when they come, we have to treat them as a patient because they must be made to feel well. Another aspect of hospitality. Thank you. I enjoyed every presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have one more question here. Are we planning to respond to questions, or take the questions first and make a general response?
As you wish, John.
Okay. I will just ask for our panelists if anybody wants to respond to that question, or I can just simply add my perspective. I just don't want it to like hijack the entire webinar. So that's why I want to ask if anybody from the audience wants to jump in and answer the question from Jamaica, right? All right. Let me tell a few words just to at least, this may not answer your fully question, but just give you an idea, like we do in classes. I'll give you the little spark and I will let you guys to search for the outside. And technically, if you look at the hospitality, the word itself, it comes from hospice. And you're right, the hospice is actually, it's a Latin word, which means rehabilitation, resetting place. So people, for a long time, they looked at the hospitality as a rehabilitation or resetting themselves. But today's world, hospitality is really much more than this. Hospitality is actually making it's really related with the emotions and making the people to feel that comfortable. And if you are going somewhere and you are coming back, that's hospitality. So if you are making the people to coming back, wanting to come in, needing to come in, and that's hospitality in my perspective. If you meet with someone and if you see someone on the street, and if this person wants happy to see you, if this person wants to say hi to you, compared to change the direction, that's the hospitality. So you can test yourself if the people are trying to see you and trying to give you greetings, enjoying to be with you, you are a hospitable person. But if people are ignoring you, well, that means you're in the wrong business. Maybe you may be in accounting, or you may be in something with the numbers and computers. But in human business, it's just making people to feel good. That's all about the hospitality. We have a couple more questions. Thank you. A couple more questions.
I see a hand, Dr. Sheikhi. Did you have a question? Okay. Yes,
thank you
please.
very much, dear Dr. Sultani, for organizing such a nice and productive meeting. I have a question because I can see that most of you are practitioners from the industry. So this is my question, that most of the employee, I'm based on the experience of Almaty in Central Asia, I'm speaking. For example, most of the employees, they are not satisfied with their salary, but they are at the same time in the providing service to luxury guests. For example, Ritz-Carlton Almaty charging per night 900 USD. But the salary of most of my students that they are working 12 hours per day, they are receiving like a 200 USD per month. So how we can provide this sense that they can do their best hospitality to providing service to luxury guests. So this is my question. I don't know. And most of the employees in hospitality, they are always changing, transferring their experience to another industry. They are not staying for such a long time in the industry. So they transfer and going to another industry. So they gaining some experience, but they are leaving. They are not staying for a long time. So these kind of issues always is challengeable for me to deliver my courses based on the theoretical view to my students. So I would like to learn from you how I can fill this gap. Thank you so much for your reply.
Thank you very much. I will ask first any of the panelists or anybody from the Zoom, if anybody wants to respond, or do you guys want me to take over? Either way, I'm fine. I just want to check with our panelists first. Anybody is willing to respond?
John, I'll offer some comments. You
Sure.
know, I think a large part of responding to that challenge, which I think is inherent in most of the hospitality industry. I mean, it's pretty widely recognized that there can be a lot of turnover. I think a big part of it is cultural within the organization in trying to create a culture that has your team understand that they're valued in the role. You can't ignore the dynamics that you're talking about, where you have affluent guests who are paying large sums of money to stay each night. But it also takes significant investments by ownership and investors to create these experiences. And so to be able to create an environment that has your team understand and recognize that, yes, that is a disparity, and yet we can still be happy in the roles that we have, and they can be valued and appreciated within the organization, such that if they compare what you're offering at your organization versus what they might find in another organization, they're going to always feel like this is a special place and these people actually care about me. You may not be able to change somebody's decision to leave the industry entirely, and people often make those life choices. And our job is to react to those life choices. But within those who choose to be in hospitality, I think it's important that we try to make them feel as special as possible.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I also would like to add a couple things for this. To answer this question is really deep because it's considering other things too. With being in different parts of the world, it's a question and issue connected with the political environment, economical environment. So it really changes the country to country. I'll give you one example to put it together with the concept. I remember like years and years ago, almost like 100 years ago, the Ford factory was planning to open in one of the Middle East countries, and I just don't want to give out the names and the people, but I will tell you the story. The Ford company wanted to open a factory over there. The country presidents and the leadership were not agree for one thing about payment, because the country was the Ford factory was planning to pay 3 or 4 times more than the minimum wage that country is paying for any other employees. Just because of that conflict, the Ford company didn't open that factory because they were willing to pay 4 or 5 times more for their employees. It reminds me something, again, another great CEO that I happened to have a chance to meet with him when I was working is the Marriott CEO, Bill Marriott. He has a famous quote. He says, "Take care of my employees, they will take care of my customers." That's actually core of the hospitality. In the classes, we like to teach the triangle. There is a triangle in the hospitality. One corner is the guest, the other corner is the employees, the third corner is the boss. If those 3 corners are happy, the business will run. If one of them is not happy, the others are not going to be happy. And you can test it, practice it. If the boss is not happy, the customers and the employees will not going to be happy. If the employees are not happy, the boss is not going to be happy, and the customer is not going to be happy. It's the same thing. If the customer is not happy, the employees is not going to be happy, boss is not going to be happy. You can test it. I can give you the stories behind of it. You can see that. But it's really easy for us to talk from here, from the United States, because we have a lot of diversity here, a lot of great companies that we can go and work. If a company is paying us a minimum wage, I'll give an example from Massachusetts. The minimum wage is entire country in the United States is $7.25, and Massachusetts is the $15. And I had a meeting last year with one of the hotels, Omni Hotel Seaport in Boston. Their HR director told me their minimum wage is $27. So if you are going to start their hotel from the beginning, from the lowest degree of payment, it starts $27. So my point is here, we have a little flexibility in the United States that we can pick different companies. We have unions, we have really great companies to pick who take care of us. It's very difficult for people here to make a recommendation in a different country that who are not making enough money. But I can only recommend their operators, managers, and owners, if you really want to have a successful company, they have to take care of their employees. And I really support the Marriott's perspective. You have to take care of your employees, especially in the hospitality. One last thing that you mentioned, I have a different perspective for this, for in general, for the audience. The people are living in the hospitality. You are definitely right. Whenever and whatever happens, the first thing we see is the people are leaving the industry. And we always complain about it. And if you look at the history of the tourism in the United States, we had September 11, people left the industries. We have 2008 housing crisis, economic crisis, people left the hospitality. We have SARS viruses, people left the industry. We had COVID, people left the industry. However, here's the way I look at the things. People are leaving our industry. We should be happy about it, because the reason they are leaving, because they can leave it, because they have the skills to work in anywhere else. So it shows that how we train them, our employees, they are ready to leave the industry if they want to, because they are very well skilled. They can transfer the soft skills anywhere in any industry. To me, it's a positive thing. Your job or the manager's job or the boss' job is to keep them in the company, because you are losing a really valuable employee to another industry. That's the boss' job. I think we should focus on how to keep them in the industry. And if they are, they have the skills to leave, that means they are very successful employees. We need to keep them. We have to work on this. And anything else you guys would like to add? Or I think there was one question, but we lost it, I guess.
Yes, that was the only question as far as I see it.
All right.
Anything else? Anybody has a question? No.
I can just, oh, there's one question, yes.
Yes, Tina Jones, please.
Well, first, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. I wasn't sure. I'm not in the hospitality industry, but I see how this industry applies to the work I do, and more industries out there could learn something from you. So I really appreciate your time and expertise today. I'm curious how the hospitality industry will implement AI, and I'm also curious, do you normally provide dispute resolution, empathy, and active listening training, or opportunities for training? Did you hear me okay?
Yes,
Yes.
I think I heard you. It's a really great question. I have, like I said, as a professor, I can talk about it hours and hours, but I want to turn the audience not to hijack the entire webinar. No?
Thank you.
Anybody wants to pitch in, has any idea? You guys, you don't have to be panelists. If I believe anybody who wants to pitch in anything. If not, I can simply answer the question.
I think it's on you, John.
Right, that's perfectly fine. But first and foremost, I would like to say that I agree with you. You don't have to be in hospitality, but hospitality is a concept. That's something that we teach the first year students. There's something I call hospitality mindset. This is a choice. The hospitality is a choice. You can be hospitable in any business. You know, you can decide if you want to do just a transaction or experience. That's your choice. You don't have to be in the hospitality. In any business, in any industry, you will make a decision if you will be hospitable or not. So I agree with you. The hospitality is a choice. It's not really simple industry. It can be, everything you do can be hospitable, even your personal life. And I dare you, get that mindset, and you will notice that the people around you will change. The way they look at you and the way the things you handle will change once you decide to be hospitable. That's one thing that I will tell you. The next thing is about AI and communication. We strongly encourage our students, especially in our classes, in hospitality management classes, every single student, they constantly encourage to use AI, technology. And to use them for their benefit for the communication. I personally believe AI is a tool that we definitely need to use. I don't think there is anything can replace a human. That's my personal opinion. It's very debatable. I don't think the human can be replaceable, but we can use it as a tool. In my mind, and the students that we are discussing in the classes, they have different perspectives too. However, AI will help us to make it easy. AI will help us to spend more time with our guests, with our customers. Imagine that if you are using the AI to do a lot of jobs, if you can summarize things, if you can communicate things, if you get help for the calendar, if you get help for emails, you don't spend all this time, your AI will do it, but you will focus on your guest. And I don't think the AI will fulfill that experience, that emotions. I think we need to use it, but I don't think it will replace us.
Thank you. And maybe the last question, I see Miss Clara Okoro, please. She's a tourism professional from Nigeria. Clara,
Okay. Hi, everyone.
Hi, Clara.
It's great. Hi. It was really wonderful listening to all the perspectives. So our niche is actually in technology, and I'm interested to find out how this is faring, globally now. We call it hospitality, and you did very much say it's something we could use to teach people to connect back with their inner self. So here is technology, taking on the aspect of being addictive to people. Are there ways now that we could actually get people to completely disconnect from their gadgets when they come into a hospitality setting to get some, form of reconnection to their inner self? Now you have hotels that probably just, from the lobby, they connect you to your hotel room. You don't have any human interactions. Is this not going to be a problem later on in future, where even those who think it's hospitality will begin to reassess it and think, where is the human touch in all this when technology is really gaining more ground in the industry?
Well, again, it's a great question about in industry, we call it this way. We say high touch or high tech. So we have to, a lot of people think that we have to decide one or either. I don't think that way. I think the high touch means connecting the customers in any way, touching their feelings, is not going to go away. And I will tell you something, maybe making you guys to think about it, but I see the AI or any kind of technology, it's almost like a trend. It's not really a trend, but almost like a trend. They will always bring something new, interesting, and will make people to think that life is going to be destroyed, and everybody will start to think that, oh, AI will kill all the hospitality. It's almost the same thing. If you go back to history, a couple hundred years ago, when they started to find the printing, when the books came out, they had the same problem too. They were discussing that the books will destroy our life because people are not going to memorize, people will just write and read, and the books are bad things. That's one thing we discussed for a long time. There was another thing, even in the United States in 1960-ish, all teachers were protesting because the calculators were bad things and they were destroying the learning and destroying the humankind. It didn't happen. The calculators didn't really destroy us. In year 2000, we had the same discussion with the computers. Everybody said the computers will take over everything. It actually made our life easier, which is debatable. But I don't think the AI will completely, or technology will completely take over. It will create new industries, new segments, and definitely some people, some population will use that kind of service. But in our definition, it will not going to be fully hospitality. It will be a service. It's called transaction, not an experience. So the service you are telling is the transaction. It's not the experience. In our definition that we are trying to define here is the experience. That's what the hospitality is. It's not a transactions. And definitely there's a customers, there's a value for this industry too with the technology. I will give you one last example. There was a discussion a couple of years ago during the COVID, and people were thinking that the travel industry, the tourism will be completely VR industry. People were not going to travel. They were going to use the VR, and they will visit the museums with sitting in the living room. They will feel the tropical environment by looking at the VR. And they were discussing and researching in the academic world. And in different conferences, I was telling them, this might happen, but if this happens, this is not hospitality. This is not tourism. This might be called something else, not the tourism and hospitality. What you are describing may happen, but it's not hospitality. It's something else, right? Thank you very much. Anything else you want to add, Reza? I know there are some more questions, but it's up
I
to you.
leave that to you. I don't know, maybe there are questions, but maybe it's running late. For me, it's okay if you want to answer.
Yeah, I have one question.
Yes.
Let's take this one and then close it.
Yeah, this is Theo Chambers, Sharon Chambers, husband
Consultant.
and consultant. Happy everyone. I wrote, my last 3 books that I wrote is on artificial intelligence. And one thing I try to share with the world, that there's nothing artificial about artificial intelligence. That's number one. It's important for us not to take AI, it's very simple. In fact, I believe that artificial intelligence should be called ancient or advanced intelligence. I would predict that within the next 36 months, that AI will be so integrated in everything that we're doing, from booking hotel rooms, from servicing to everything, that I think that they're going to be a ripple effect, a butterfly effect. And those who are not prepared for what's taking place, who take AI very simple and say, oh, it's artificial, don't worry about it. I really believe we should look into this more carefully, see what's going on around the world, follow all of the trends that are taking place, but definitely because we have relinquished all of our duty to AI to make decisions on our behalf. And once AI becomes autonomous, we have no idea where it's going to be going. And to me, I just want to share that AI is becoming too autonomous for us to control it or decide where it will go, positive or negative. And that's just my what little words I want to share with the group. Thank you.
Well, thank you for sharing this. These are, with all respect, these are all perceptions. There are some sections that I agree, some sections I disagree. But just to make it in a hospitable way, I will add something what you said. The artificial intelligence is the way we put it out. It's artificial. And look at today's world. We want everything natural. Somehow we start to want the intelligence is artificial. It doesn't really make sense. So I believe the natural intelligence is always preferable to me. And that's preferable for hospitality too. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but my thing is AI is the tool. Yes, we will use it. It will be integrated in many, many, many places. But even today's world, we really need a nature and natural things, especially in natural intelligence. I think the human is not replaceable. That's what I feel. I think we will see all these changes, but it's hard to see and say that this will happen. We'll live and we'll see. And Reza, before I give it to you, I just want to say one last thing, just to tell all the audience and everybody, enjoy to talk this type of subjects. This is my passion, and I know this is the passion of the Institute of Tourism, and they plan really great webinars, virtual conferences, and I would like you guys to support them and join us with different events and activities. And I know the 2 hours in your life is very valuable. Thank you very much for spending here. I hope to see you guys in the next meetings and webinars and discussions. Please contact with Reza if you have any questions and if you want to build a relationship, maybe future activities. I will be happy to join as a guest or even just audience. Thank you.
Thank you, and one love.
Thank you so much, John. Wonderful. It was really great. Thank you so much, everybody, and all the distinguished speakers. The recording will be available from tomorrow, including the biography of all the speakers and our John, and it can be easily found as well if you want to contact him. He's a great teacher. I learned a lot from him today. So thank you so much, everybody, and see you next time. So everything will be on our website from this session tomorrow. Thank you so much. God bless you and have a nice day and evening and night and morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Give thanks from Jamaica.
Thank you.